Hi everyone. Today we are going to see the preliminary things about IELTS. IELTS is nothing but an English proficiency test which tests your skills in specific skills in global English. So let's go in detail. Before we go in detail, let's go over the expansion of IELTS and these things. So actually, IELTS is International English Language Testing System. So it's a test which assess your proficiency in global English, the English which we use globally. I mean, the English we use in native English countries. That's Australia, New Zealand, UK, Canada, USA. So these are some of the native English speaking countries. So this test is conducted by the Cambridge University Press in coordination with two partners, that's the British Council and the IDP Australia. And we have two types of tests here at present. One is pen and paper test. Another one is computer-based test. Let's see that. So it's a pen and paper test. So what exactly is a pen and paper test? It's a traditional type of test. In this test, you'll be assessed your listening skills, reading skills, writing skills, and speaking skills in the traditional manner. So listening, reading, and writing will be, the answers will be written in a sheet of papers and will be submitted, and uh, you get the results in 13 days from the day of the test. When case of computer-based tests, you'll be getting the results faster. That's in 3 to 5 days. So it's a digitalized test, which is adaptable to the modern people. You know that it saves your time. If you have a bad handwriting, the problem will be solved, and you get a faster results, and you be facilitated with a faster results. The payment is almost the same. And the test centers are more for pen and paper tests and less for computer-based tests. But you have more frequency of computer-based tests than the pen and paper tests. Now, moving ahead with the components of this thing, before we go with the components, that's listening, reading, speaking, and writing, we need to see the types of tests we do have at present. We do have basically academic module IELTS and general module IELTS. And those who want to go specifically to the UK, we have UKVI test. So it's also a proficiency test. It's designed to those students who wish to go to the UK. They want to, if they want to work there or something like that. So specifically to the UK, they have UKVI test. And other tests are common, that's normal IELTS, academic, and general. We do have basic classification, that's academic and general. So academic tests are designed to those students and professionals. The students who wish to pursue their high studies, a university degree abroad, or a postgraduate degree abroad. General candidates are those candidates who write the exam for migration purpose or an education purpose, which is, that is a certificate program or a diploma program or something. It's not a university degree, a shorter duration course. So that's the difference between academic test and general test. And UKVI test, I told you, specifically designed to those candidates who are going to the UK. And there too we have academic and general. And now let's go ahead with the components. The first component, that is the listening. Okay. So we have the first component as listening. It's a pre-recorded audio, and this audio is compiled by the language experts. And we do have the duration of 30 minutes recording and 10 minutes transferring time. So a pen and paper test, you'll be having 10 minutes transferring time. So 30 plus 10, 40 minutes. You'll be answering the questions uh, in the pen in the question booklet, and then you'll be transferring the answers to the answer sheet 10 minutes. So totally you have 40 minutes here for listening. And when we go ahead and see what how it's designed here, the listening, and we can see it's divided into four parts. So before there's a small update here in 2020 January. From 2020 January, there was a small modification in the test of listening. So they up to 2020 January, there was an example at the beginning of the test, and then only the recording will be played. But after 2020, you miss the record, you miss the examples. There, you go directly to the topic here. So this is what the main change. And here we do have the parts: part one, part two, part three, and part four. Before it was called a section one, section two, section three, and section four. So this was the main difference between that before 2020 there was an example. Now there is no example at the beginning. uh, Before 2020, they were calling it as section 1, section 2, section 3, and section 4. Now they call part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. So the new versions of the test, you'll be hearing part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. I hope it's clear to you. Now, if I go in detail, what comes in part 1? So it's a conversation between two people in a social situation. So in a social situation, say for example, Peter will be talking to Mary in a in a shopping mall, um, regarding a purchase, which an electronic gadget purchase sometimes. So they be talking about specific. You need to find specific information here, like the price of the product, the quality of the product, the duration, the warranty, the credit card number, the phone number. So such specific information you need to obtain from the recording. So as you listen, you need to answer the question. You will not be getting another extra time to answer this question. So no extra time is provided in the listening. You will be simultaneously listening and simultaneously answering the question. No extra time provided. And if I say some extra time is provided, so that's after the introduction of the topic, that's 30 seconds. And in between of the session, you have 30 seconds. And at the end of the session, you have another 30 seconds. So seconds, you'll be having some source of relaxation. Apart from that, you don't be having special time to look at the answers. Okay. So when we move ahead to the second part, that's it's a monologue. Again, the situation is the same, that social situation. Okay. So it's a social situation monologue. What do you mean by monologue? It's a it's a one person will be talking. So it may be a um, an instruction, an instruction in the sense, um, an instruction to get into a library or something like that. So that's what we call it as a monologue. So again, I told that the situation is social and you won't be finding it that much difficult. That's mostly communicative English, but you need to understand how the people live in these Western countries. The people live the life of the people in the Western countries, the life of the people in these countries. So it's not the lifestyle, it's not the social situation in the country which you live in. It is the social situation of the country which a native English speaker lives. So that's the difference. Even if it is a social situation, you need to find that you are in a situation where a native English speaker lives. So it will be somewhere different from your own situation. I hope it's clear to you. And when we go with the difficulty level from part one to part two, you'll be having slight a bit problem. Some problems will be there. You may face some problems with the words which they use, the speed of the recording, the style of the speaking. You may find some differences in the accents when between part one and part two. So you may have some problems here. Yeah. So the first part, you be having sufficient time for you to look at the questions in detail. The second part, you be finding it the recording will be a little bit faster than the first part. Now let's see what's in part three. It's a conversation. So it's again a conversation. The first part was a conversation and it was in the social situation. The third part, again, it's a conversation, but it is not in the social situation. It's an academic situation here. So it's an academic situation, so like projects or assignments. You be having only two people involved in the first part. Here we have more than two individuals here. So that's the difference here. So this will be more complex. We have more number of people talking and we'll be having academic situations instead of social situations. So that will be a little bit difficult. You need to find out what the opinion or the attitude of the speaker instead of specific information. So you'll be getting more types of multiple choice questions and such questions, which gives you um, some sort of difficulty. So you need to comprehend the recording, understand the essence of the recording, and then grammatically fit to the answer sheet. Okay, so the questions, you know, that there is a difference between the spoken language and the written language. So your question paper is in the written format, and what you hear will be in the spoken format. So there'll be a difference. So what you hear is in the spoken format, and what you have to write it is in the written format. So you have to fit that thing in grammatically. So grammar is something very important. So you have to write singular as singular, plural as plural. You need to, if you want to capitalize some word, you have to capitalize. If you want to add some article to the word, you have to add that. If you want to hyphenate some word, you have to hyphenate. If you want to put some symbol like dollar, pound, or something, you have to put that. So it's very grammar specific presentation here in listening. When you write the answer, you have to be very careful. I give an example. See, for example, you listen the recording that she's from Switzerland, and here it's given in the question nationality, and there is a blank. So what we have to write the answer is not Switzerland. So you have to write the answer as Swiss. The nationality is Swiss. What you heard is Switzerland. So it's different. So what you heard may not be exactly what you are going to write in the answer booklet. So this is something which we find it difficult for many of the students. They find it difficult, and they may correct themselves. So in some sorts of conversations, maybe a person say first something, and after that he be changing his opinion. And this change of opinion, you might have already written the answer that this person has stated this thing. But after some time, he may be correcting himself. You may not be noticing that. So if you notice that, and then one sometimes some at some point when you realize that you went wrong somewhere, when you think of that particular thing, you may getting the next question. So this is something which we find it difficult in answering the listening. So you have to comprehend instead of looking into specific answers. We need to comprehend this thing. This is what you have to see. Now, moving to the fourth part. So here, I told that it's a conversation, and there is a different. There is something uh, similar between part two and part four. Part two is a. It was a monologue, and here it is also a monologue here. But such a social situation there. Now here it's an academic situation here. It may be lectures, it may be seminar or something like that. So here, it won't be mostly multiple choice questions. It may be complete the table, complete the notes, or complete the sentences or something like that. So it will be a little bit easy. So, but you know that the language is complex, and you'll be having a different space and a different type of presentation because it's a seminar, because it's a lecture, because it's a knowledge uh, giving session. So it will be somewhat difficult for you. Not when you be facing some, you be listening to some sorts of unfamiliar vocabulary, like some synonyms, for examples. They use antonyms in some case. In case of easy, they be telling that it's not at all it's not at all difficult, so you can say it's easy there on the other way. So you be having a range of different vocabulary fluctuations here. Because as far as you have to see, that's an academic situation. It is not at all a social situation there. So this is what the difference between the sessions in the parts in the listening. So we have four parts, and each part has 10 questions each, and we have 40 questions in total, and we have 30 minutes recording time and 10 minutes transferring time. So this is what. So we recommend, if you are writing a pen and paper test, we recommend to write all the answers inside the boxes which are provided. And if you write in all caps letter, like this, okay, then it's okay. You don't cross this, you don't write any alphabets outside the boxes. If you write outside the boxes, it won't be counted, so please write inside the boxes. And you'll be provided with 40 boxes for 40 questions, and if you score 30 out of 40, you'll be getting band score 7. And the score conversion table I'll be giving you later at the end of this thing. So let's move ahead with the types of uh, the questions which we can see in listening. We have complete the sentences, we have complete the notes, we have complete the table, we have complete the diagram. These are all and completions. So this is one type. Another type is multiple choice question. You may have two options, one question, two options, one question, three options, one question, five or six options. So we're having multiple options here. So these are multiple choice questions. These are the basically two types of questions which we can see in our listening. So it can be complete a sentence, complete a table, complete a diagram, or multiple choice questions of three. Usually we be having three, so or else we be having a choice question like this. So you have to select from a group, so you be having one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight in the boxes. So you'll be having 15, what's the answer? 16, what's the answer? 17, what's the answer? 18, what's the answer? So it will be written A, B, C, D, like that options will be there. So you correlate, okay, I find the answer is B here, okay, fine, it's B, C, like that. So this is also a type of multiple choice question which we are commonly seeing in our listening session. Let's move on. I have to see what's academic reading here. We have a three passage comprehension of 60 minutes, and we have 40 questions here, and we have a specific type of questions which is exceptional here because that's not very common in general module reading. So this is a specific identity of academic reading, that is paragraph heading. So a type of questions are one, paragraph heading; two, true false not given; three, yes or no not given; four, multiple choice question, matching boxes, complete the sentences, complete the tables, complete the notes, complete the diagram. So we're having a variety of questions here in a reading. So it's based on three passages. Each passage, ideal time, if you take 20, 20, 20, then it becomes 60 minutes. So some passages will be easy, and one of the passage will be a little bit difficult than the other two. So that's the thing which we can see in academic reading. We'll be having three passages and three lengthy passages. We'll be having multiple paragraphs there. So the difficulty level of one particular passage will be a little bit uh, so it will be more difficult than the other two. So that's what we have to see. So we need to identify which are the passages are quite easy. Then you do that first, and then save your time for the other thing. So are you? And one more thing, I just want to advise you that concentrate on the questions instead of reading out the complete passages. You if you go ahead and read complete passages, you are wasting your valuable time. So your option is to answer the maximum number of questions within the 16 minutes. You have 40 questions, and you'll be getting only 90 seconds for each question if you calculate. So 1.5 minutes you have for one particular question. And if you try, this is really difficult. If you try one reading passage, this is really, really difficult. It's a time consuming process. Time versus perfection. That's the thing. So we do have 60 minutes, and we have to write 40 correct answers. This is something very difficult here in case of reading. So we need to use the time wisely to make the perfection. Yeah. So for example, if you have to write 30 correct answers within this time, so concentrate on 30 questions instead of 40 questions, so you'll be successful there. So if you focus on 40 questions, then your perfection will be a little bit compromised here. So this is what the reading is. So it's a skill which we need to develop by practicing. It is not so easy because we have lengthy passages in academic reading, and there we have to see the difference between academic reading and general reading. So we do have something, a difference between academic reading and general reading. In general reading, you'll be having some sorts of direct questions instead of indirect questions here. So there won't be that much incidence of paragraph headings. It will be presented in some other ways there. You'll be having more less lengthy passages. It's divided into smaller sections in order to for a candidate it will be easy to read all the passages. For an average language use, he or she can finish a general reading within an average time of 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So, but you know that there will be some problems here in the general reading. See, for example, if you need to get a band score 7 in general reading, you need to score 34 out of 40. So, but in case of academic, if you are an academic candidate, you need to score only 30 out of 40 to score band 7. So this is a difference between academic reading grading and general reading grading. So there is some difference here. So comparatively, you'll be getting easier questions in the general training reading. So sometimes it may be 3 passages, sometimes it can be 4 passages. Okay, so those passages, the level of difficulty of the passages are little. It's not too uh, too tough when it compared to the academic reading. This is what we can see in this in case of academic reading, and let's go ahead with the next. That's writing. That's writing. In academic writing, we'll be having 2 tasks. That's task one and task two. So task one, we have 20 minutes. Task two, we have 40 minutes. In task one, writing, we'll be having classical charts like graph, bar chart, table, and pie chart, and the other things like diagrams, maps, flow charts, life cycle, and so on. So we'll be having some other types of charts also here in this writing academic. So we be having a lot of pictures, and each of these pictures, when it comes, so the presentation style would differ from picture to picture. So this is what we are going to see here in academic writing task one. So the way which you write a graph is different from the way which you write a table. So in a bar chart, you may having a static chart or a movement chart. In a table also, you may having a static chart or a movement chart. So it's different. So the presentation of a static chart is different from a presentation of a movement chart in a table. So the way which we write pie chart is different from the way which we write a bar chart. So each type of academic task one has different purposes and different presentations. We need to have to write this in certain formats. We do have specific formats to write these things, and we need to write a minimum of 150 words there. And at the time duration, ideal time duration is given, that's 20 minutes. If you take 25 minutes for task one, you'll be getting only 35 minutes for task two. So total writing is for 60 minutes. And then in task two, you'll be having formal essays. Formal essays in the sense, formal essays about a particular topic. We do have different types of questions, essays there in IELTS task two. It can be argumentative, it can be descriptive. So we do have different types of essays where you have to give your personal opinion, where you have to discuss something in detail, where you have to assess the situation and evaluate the situation. So we have the purpose of the task two, that's essay writing, is something different and complex. When academic task one, the matter is given. Academic task two, the matter is not given. You need to understand, you need to extract the ideas from your own ideas and surroundings with relevant examples and present it in a formal way, in order, in a specific format, using appropriate vocabulary and using a commendable style of writing. So this is what academic writing is. And academic and general writing task 2 is almost similar. When you get a writing task 2 direct questions in general module, you may not get always the direct questions in task 2 academic. You may get some indirect questions too. So when we say there won't be, in the appearance, there won't be the presentation of task one and task two in academic and general, it's almost the same. I can say there is no how much academic, if you are writing, that much score you be getting here, even if you are a general candidate. So it's something, the formality counts there. But there is a difference in task one of the general module here. Here they have to write letters instead of this the pictures. The letter may be formal or informal, basically two types. We have something which is called semi-formal in between, that stands in between informal and formal. So we do have three types of letter basically in general IELTS task one. So this also will be written in one at least 150 words. When you have to keep the formality, utmost formality for the formal letters, you can present the letter in an informal style in an informal letter. We expect informal style in an informal letter, and we expect formality in the formal letter. And in the semi-formal letter, we expect some relaxation in the formality, and it should not be that much informal too. So that's a language which we counts the marks there. And in total, I can say that 33 percentage of your marks will be there from task one. Only 33 percentage for of your total writing score will be from task one. So 67 percentage of your marks comes from task two. So you need to concentrate, you need to work out some more time for this task two instead of task one. So if you do that, so be getting a better score instead. I don't recommend the priority. Sometimes some tutors will be giving you instructions that you have to do task two first and then task one, or task one first or then task two. It's up to the convenience of the candidate, the test taker. So he decides which one is easier for him. So do the easier and save time. That's what my advice is. So I don't think that you have to do this thing first and this thing second. So it's up to the convenience of the candidate. Some will be comfortable with task one first, they be finishing in that, and they save time for task two, so that's good. And if some will be convinced, some will be finishing task two within half an hour. So let them do, let them. So be free. So you have your own freedom. So you are the test taker, you have the freedom to write. So you have got the 60 minutes, so you divide it as per your convenience. So that's it. Now I have to move on to the speaking. Yeah. uh, the speaking in an IELTS, we have three parts basically. Three parts. This is a formal interview. There will be an interviewer, there will be an interviewee, that we call it candidate and the examiner in the examination hall. It's a one-to-one formal interview, and they be having specific questions for specific parts. So each individual will be having different set of questions in front of the candidate. They'll be unsealing this question and they'll be presenting it. So when it comes to a traditional pen and paper test, you'll be having a physical examiner in front of the candidate. But in the computer-based test, the test is conducted in a high definition video, and mm, under the you know that's it can be from another place. The examiner may be from another place, examiner may not be from your place. He may be from 500 kilometers away, he may be from around 1000 kilometers away. Sometimes he may be near you. So this is a digital examination here in computer-based test. But in a pen and paper test, you'll be having a physical examination in front of you. He'll be giving you a formal presentation. He'll be introducing you to himself to you, that I am so and so. My examiner number is this thing. The candidate I'm going to interview is this person, and his candidate number is this thing. So shall we start the speaking is recorded, so it is recorded, so they'll be recording your speaking for further clarifications if you go for a revaluation. So it is very vital. So now let's see what comes in the part one of the speaking. It's a 4 to 5 minutes interview, which includes questions related to name, place, profession, and two topics, familiar topics, your likes or dislikes. Sometimes you're reading books, watching TV, hobbies, swimming, travel, um, so entertainment or something like that, something which is related to you, so pertaining to you. That's it. So no complex questions will be asked in the first part. Everything will be related to you. So it will be easy for you to answer these questions. So please don't expand your answer, and you need to just answer exactly to the question which is asked. But don't be too short in the presentation. Just don't say yes, just don't say no, just don't say, okay, do you watch TV? Yes. Do you read books? Yes. So this is not the answer. You need to develop into meaningful sentences. At least two sentences you have to present. You'd have to give the answer. So I didn't tell that what's your name. If they ask you, could you please tell your name? Oh, my name is Thomas Matthew Alvin. You can call me Thomas. As my parents call me Thomas. My relatives call me Alvin, but I don't like that name. You call me Thomas. This is not the explanation. This is not the way you have to present. You can say, okay, my name is Thomas Alvin Peter or something like that. Um, they and you can say you can call me Thomas. That's it. And you try to keep brief. You try to keep your answers brief instead of expanding and expanding. So don't beat around the bush. Answer exactly to what examiner is asking, but don't give very short answers. You need to give at least two sentences here. So you need you can your sentence a minimum count say may go from two sentences to a maximum four sentences or five sentences in the first part, but don't describe what you're going to say. That's it. That's what I meant. And when we move on to the second part of the speaking, so we have a cue card. So what do you mean by a cue card? A cue card is something, a set of questions. A set of questions is given to you. Then the examiner will be giving you clear indication that where you stand. So now let's speak something about TV viewing. Now we are moving to the second session of this speaking. So the examiner will be giving you clear indication exactly where you stand. That's it. That's what we are going to say. So the examiner will be giving you clear indication, a clear cut indication he will be giving. And last, when you present a cue card, it's given to you. You'll be given 1 minute to prepare the cue card. So preparation time for the cue card is 1 minute. You have to make use of this wisely. You'll be given a pen, a paper to prepare this thing. So you can make some notes if you want, if you wish. If you don't do that, it's up to you. If you are good, no issues. But normally I recommend you to mark something so that it will be easy. So you won't be looking at the examiners like this, examiner at like this and speaking. You have to look at the paper and you have to make some a simultaneous organization, and then you have to speak. So even though we should have a good eye contact with the examiner, you should not look down and speak. So you have to have a face, because as far as it's a formal interview, you have to have a face-to-face interaction. But I don't tell that you have to always look at the examiner. You can just turn your face to here or here or something, and then you can look at the paper. No, you should. And naturally, people may ask me that what if I use some humming or some sort of all these things. It comes naturally. Even I use that. Uh, I may have some problems with this. I may find sometimes I may find it blank, so I don't have some words to speak in between. So I have to fill that gap with It's quite natural. It adds naturality. There is no issues in doing that. If you have some people, some examiners, or no, some mm, IELTS trainers train that whenever you get some gaps, you use that well. Or something like that. It's quite good if you want to use that's quite good, but don't always tell well. Instead, it's quite natural. So don't be artificial. I recommend let it be. You won't be having that much problems when you use it, or something. But you you don't you don't focus that these things are very visible to the examiner. It should not interrupt your fluency at all. If it isn't, if it interrupts your fluency, then it becomes a problem. As far as it's not interrupting your fluency, there is no problem. Your fluency and coherence is intact, then there is no issues in using these types of gestures, using these types of natural no issues there. Should not be too frequent, and it should not be interrupt, it should not interrupt the fluency. And sometimes they ask me that what about the mother tongue influence. Definitely we do have some problems with mother tongue influence. Anyway, we have some leniency here in mother tongue influence. Sometimes you are from an oriental culture, you may have a specific mother tongue influence, but when it interrupts the understanding, when I am finding it too difficult to understand, then the mother tongue influence is somewhat, so it affects your score. It may affect your score. So that's what we can see in the cue card. So it's a 2 minute talk. So your perfection is when you complete 2 minutes in a 2 minute talk. So your maximum time given is 2 minutes. So even if you are if you are presenting it in 1.5 minutes, no issues there. But I recommend you to complete the 2 minutes. Make use of the time which is given to you, that's 1 to 2 minutes. Make use of the time, the maximum time, that's 2 minutes. That is highly recommended, and that is perfection. If you want to get a better score, complete the task which is given, the set of questions which are given in the cue card within this 2 minutes. So don't take extra, don't fall behind. So it may be something like 1 minute 55 seconds, 1 minute 59 seconds. That's perfect presentation. So after 1 minute 50 seconds, you can conclude. So a proper conclusion is something very vital in the cue card presentation. So most of the candidates, they won't be focusing on the conclusion. They just try and they complete the 2 minutes, and then they say, finished. So this is actually I recommend a conclusion just before the 2 minutes of your talk. If you can conclude it, if you can summarize what you have said in 1 second, one sentence, that would be perfect presentation. And when you start the cue card, many people, they generalize the cue card. So if I get a question like movie you have watched recently, so many of the students, they start, movies are very entertaining, it's a popular form of entertainment in the society. So it's not like you are going to generalize these things here. It's something, it is asked to you, a movie you have watched, then you can say, you can generalize in your personal perspective that I did watch a lot of movies when I was young, but right now, um, time is not allowing me to watch as much as movies as possible. But whenever I get some time, say for at least a month, at least one movie a month, I watch. So this is what a generalization based in the personal perspective, not in others' perspective. So you're not going to look at others, you're going to look at yourself. So if you are want to speak something related to movies in general, speak in your own perspective, don't speak in others perspective. So this is what I just recommend when you are presenting something, even when you are starting the cue card, you just see, start from your viewpoint, not don't start from others viewpoint. So that's something different here. I need to recommend that. And when we move to the part three of the speaking, we have discussion on abstract topics. What do you mean by abstract topics? Abstract topics are topics which are of general interest, like education. You go early marriages. Then you can say sports, physical exercise, life expectancy. So we do have a lot of abstract topics. It's not related to your name, place, profession, your eating habits, not specific to you. As we have the first two, say the part one and part two, it's something related to you. But in part three, it's not something related to you personally. It's something related to in general. So this is what you'll be having more complex questions. You have to expand your answers here instead of just concluding your answers. You have to expand your answers in sentences, meaningful sentences. Organize your answers in a particular way so that with examples, um, you have to talk minimum the count, the sentence count will be 4 to 5 sentences. You just see that 4 to 5 sentences are spoken in particular this particular part of the speaking. So try to speak more, and that you very related to the topic with examples, with reasons. If you want to say something, yes, I like to go with exercises. Is why I think exercises is very much needed in the present society, because many of the people are affected with lifestyle diseases. So this is what we are going to see in part three. So extended talk is the specificity of part three, and we have brevity as the identity of part one. And in part two, we have a time-based presentation. Part one, we have to speak. We don't need to give explanation, but we need to speak at least 2 sentences or 3 sentences there. Part two, we do have the time, 2 minutes presentation. And part three, we do have to go ahead with an extended talk. We need to give reasons and we need to give examples there. I hope I have given an outline regarding this IELTS right now within this limited period of time. So we in the coming sessions, I'll be explaining how the scoring goes and other things which is related to IELTS. Hope you'll be having a nice day. Thank you all, and